Everyone dreams about living an uncommon life, but how we define that dream is very different for each of us. And for most, it's a lifelong pursuit. Welcome to the Uncommon Life Project podcast. We're going to introduce you to people who are living that life or enjoying the journey to get there. We're going to also give you some tools, tricks, and tips for starting or accelerating your own efforts to live an uncommon life, a life worth celebrating and savoring. Please welcome your hosts, Brian Dewhurst and Philip Ramsey.
Hello and welcome everybody to another episode of the Uncommon Life Project, where I'm your host, Philip Ramsey, and
Aaron Kramer.
Okay, say what? Yep. Brian Dewhurst is taking the day off. I don't know if that's true. He's actually probably doing a lot of things, but Aaron Kramer knows our two guests better than Brian Dewhurst. So we thought we would do a little wiki, change it up. Aaron Kramer, you are helping me interview two rock stars.
Yes.
So tell us who we're talking to, and then let's get them on the show. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. So this is Amanda and Aunica. I had the pleasure of meeting them a couple of years ago, and they are rock stars. And when we talk about like the uncommon path, and when we're talking about the podcast and things like that, I'm like, we got to have these girls on.
Right.
Because their story is amazing, and I think they can inspire a lot of people on how they do things. And then for the age that they are and what they're doing right now is just insane. So
that's probably the best bio I've ever heard. And they own a dance studio. So welcome to the show. Come on in.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So Aunica and Amanda, first I want you to introduce yourself so all the listeners know when this person talks, this is who it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I'm Aunica.
I'm Amanda. Hopefully you can tell the difference between who's who.
Nice. Okay, how long have you known each other?
So we have known of each other probably our entire lives. We're both from Southwest Iowa, but we didn't really know each other until college, which was not too long ago. I graduated from high school in 2015.
Yep, I graduated in 2014, and then we met at the University of Iowa when Aunica got there. We were both dance majors in the dance department and showed up to the same ballet class one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that girl.
And I don't think we had really fond feelings of each other at that point in time.
Because you were competitors? Stop.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, I was like, we got to bring that in. I think that's like extra spicy, the fact that you guys had like good feelings towards each other in the beginning.
Okay, so what high school did you go to, both of you?
Oh, gosh.
I'm from Elkhorn, Kimballton.
And then I'm from Corning.
Okay.
So both super small towns. I had 30 people in my class.
Yeah, I had 18. We combined with another school when I was a freshman, so I ended up graduating with 34.
Okay, so where did you guys know each other beforehand? I want to really dive into this because I just get competitive. So how did you know that you didn't know if you liked each other? You know what I'm saying?
Well, we had different dance teachers, but they knew of each other. And I think that they were in the same Dance Masters group, which is an organization for dance teachers. And so I think we just saw each other throughout various competitions and events.
We both did Bill Riley a lot. If you're familiar with Bill Riley at the state fair, I think that's probably where I saw Aunica the most.
There it is. Okay.
Yep.
And then I don't know if there's like a first, second, third between you two, but like who used to win? You know what I'm saying? Was there?
I don't know, but I swear that I found a news article on Google once, and I'm pretty sure that Amanda had beat me.
Oh, I was going to say you.
No.
I was going to say Aunica definitely won because you could tumble and I couldn't.
Yeah, no, but I swear I saw a news article and I tried to look it up and I can't find it. So
you guys are so kind.
You're great partners. I love it. Right? All right, so let's flash forward / back to the time where you saw each other now in college.
Right. So we saw each other, and my natural instinct is always to avoid conflict. So I'm pretty sure I avoided her. And I don't know, I think through a mutual friend, we ended up finally talking to each other at some point. And I think that relationship continued to grow through that mutual friend. And that grew until Amanda finally had the guts to ask me if I wanted to open a business with her because we had similar goals. And my initial reaction was absolutely not.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we got to go into this deep because I
Right.
love this story.
no, go.
Yeah, so we were both in college getting degrees in dance with some business background also. So I knew what she wanted to do and she knew what I wanted to do. We both knew where we wanted to end up, kind of in the Des Moines area. And so I finally asked and I said, hey, I think we should just do this together.
Mhm.
And she obviously said no. And I'm pretty good at persuading, so I just kept working on it. I think I got out a piece of notebook paper and I put a line down the middle and I said pros and I said cons and I started talking through it. And I don't really remember how long it took, but I got her on board eventually.
I think it just took one day at a coffee shop. And then I realized, I was like, every dance studio owner that I know is so stressed out. And the power that two people have versus one is just incredible. And she kind of laid that out for me. And I just thought about the impact that we could make being a 2-person startup as opposed to a 1-person was much greater if we did it together. So I jumped on board and I was like, okay, let's do this thing, I guess. And I think that was really a turning point, at least when you talk about uncommon stories, like for me in that ledge, finding that ledge, I think I needed Amanda. I am a dreamer, but I'm not sure I would have jumped off the ledge if it wasn't for her. I don't know what I would have done, but I definitely needed her little push.
Right. I love that. And I want to talk about like your parents and like going into that. Like what part were like out of both your parents, who were more entrepreneurial if you're going to try to define somebody?
I would say not mine. My grandparents are, but my parents are not.
Interesting.
But her grandparents played like a strong role in her life growing up. I feel like she was really close to them. My dad owned a business when I was young. And so that was part of my inspiration. But I think a lot of my inspiration was also, and I guess I could say the same, Amanda too, is from our dance teachers, because they were both studio owners and
we were both extremely close with our teachers. So we got to see the back end of what they did in the daily life and kind of see how they ran their studios and help alongside that. So I think that was a big inspiration for both of us.
For sure.
I also want to touch on one thing through this story that we're missing. I think is ginormous and I think it's awesome.
Get it?
Can you guys explain to the audience who told you not to do this? And then did you guys not listen and then took credit for it later?
Well, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
We have hundreds of thousands of listeners, so I'm pretty sure this will go back to that is so false. We don't have that many. You can tell us whatever you want.
So there were a lot of people who told us no. First of all, I would say like a lot of people in college, really, if you were in the dance program, they geared it a lot towards
being a professional dancer.
Right. And so we would hide that we were opening a business. We didn't tell anyone ever that we were opening a business. And our entire last year that we were at Iowa, we were opening a business and Amanda was driving back and forth to Des Moines every weekend to get things set up. And so I would say like a lot of it was like professors. And then we were in the entrepreneurial program and they just kept telling us, they were like, you're going to open a dance studio. What is your like, I forget what they call it, but like the thing that differentiates you. And I was like, nothing. We're a dance studio.
Yeah.
Like we're just going to do the same thing that everybody else has done. Ballet, tap, jazz.
Better.
We're just going to do it better. And they were like, no, like that's not going to work. Like you have to have something that differentiates you. And I was like, we don't. It's us. Like we're just going to like do the same thing everybody else has done. It's just going to be us doing it. And they told us time and time again that wouldn't work. And we said, okay, so we found a building and we're going to sign a 7-year lease. And they were like, wait, what? You're going to sign a 7-year lease?
Basically, you told them to hold my beer. Hold my beer. Watch me. Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
They were like, you don't have anything that differentiates you. And we're like,
stop talking about that. It's me. It's me.
We were like, yeah, but like, we know what we're doing. It's fine. And I mean, I also feel like we didn't understand like the risk. And when you're young, you don't quite understand, like, you don't have anything. Like, we didn't have any money, and like, we didn't have anything.
Families or houses
Right.
or
Right.
anything
So, like,
that was holding our responsibility
and
other
so
than ourselves.
when they kept saying like it's so risky, I was like, I don't see it. Like, I don't see the risk. And so we just did it. And anyway.
Let's talk about that for a second, the risk reward thing, because everybody in the financial services world would say, well, you're young. You can take risks. And what are they talking about? They're talking about you opening up an account in the market. So pin your ears back, let this thing ride, right? That's what they're talking about. But when it starts correlating to what you actually want to do with your life, you better be safe. You better be safe. It's not going to work. And no, it didn't work for you. That doesn't mean it doesn't work for me. And so I think this is kind of helpful because probably none of your listeners or none of your followers know who we are at Uncommon Wealth Partners. But that's the company that Aaron and I work for. We have this podcast to try to encourage people like you to basically tell people who say that you can't do it to but watch me. And what you guys knew is you had a couple things that you were working on that was working. Like, you just didn't say I'm going to cold turkey just sign a lease. No, you were driving to Des Moines. You were doing things. You were dancing in your past. You had a lot of experience that we would say it was part of your uncommon journey. And our job at Uncommon Wealth Partners is to help somebody like you and then get you to completion, or to the point where you're like, I get to do this every day of my life. This is amazing, right? And it sounds like you two love what you do. And when you love what you do and you're getting paid for it, when do you want to stop doing it? And the answer is
never.
Never, right. And so you tell me when you work, and I'll tell you when you're going to retire. Well, you're not really working. You're doing amazing things and impacting people. And so that's what we did at Uncommon Wealth Partners. We started a business to help people put traction on their goals and dreams in a way that isn't going to be like when they're 59 and a half or when they're 60. No, do this today. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I love that you guys looked at that professor, looked at all those people, and was like, listen, for the professional dancers out there, this works great. That's 0.002%. And for the rest of us, we need to figure out how to make a living with all the experience that we have and impact other people. And so here you are. Okay, sorry. I kind of got in a pedestal, but I love what you guys did. And so at what point did you guys know, this is what we need to do? We need to start driving. This is it. And then how did you start going over there? Did you just cold turkey right when you graduated? Here's your diploma. We're moving to Waukee. Or how does that play out?
So I'm a year older than Aunica, and we were both working at local dance studios in the area of our school. I had kind of had enough of it. I was ready to do my own thing. And I said, Aunica, I know you have 2 full years of school left, but I'm going to peace out when I'm done here. So can you get your 2 years of school done in 1 year, because I'm ready to go?
I'm pretty sure she actually said, I'm leaving whether you're coming or not.
I'm taking the goldfish with me. If you come with me. Yeah, I get it.
So I had a pretty easy last year of school because I was there for 4 years, unlike Aunica. So I did a lot of the back end work for the first year while I made her finish 2 years of school in 1 year. And I don't know, we both know how dance studios work very well.
But in terms of the turning point, I know I gave Amanda a lot of credit, and this is not like me, but as soon as it was written down on the piece of paper, this is what we're doing, the same day in that coffee shop when she convinced me, I think that was the moment, because Amanda doesn't say no and she just does what she's going to say. And so I think that was the moment where okay, Amanda's doing this. And I was like, okay, we're kind of doing this. And I think in her head it had flipped. And then I realized okay, she's actually putting things together, and we're actually going to see building, we're actually doing this. And I think that's when I was like, okay, well, I already committed, so I guess I'm in too. And so I would say she kind of pulled the boat there.
That's awesome. So through all this, is I know you guys, to elaborate more on, you guys have had this great journey, you got it up, and you got it running. But since we don't do hour-long podcasts and stuff.
I guess not. I was going to do that for you, but nope, I guess we're not. I'm totally kidding.
We're not on Joe Rogan's level yet. So with that though, I also want you to talk about, because I think you guys are like kind of like polar opposites a little bit, in a good way. You complement each other, but for everybody to know, how has the struggles of partnering on things gone? Because like, as we even know, I'm new here, and we've already like butted heads on things in a good growth manner,
right?
But like for you guys, what are some struggles you guys felt like you had that's helped you become closer and better business owners?
I think this is one of our favorite things to talk about. And that wasn't until recently. So when we first opened the business, I wanted 2 jobs, and I told Amanda I'm going to get 2 jobs and I'm not going to be poor. And Amanda said, no, give it a chance. Give me 3 months. And she was like, just try this for 3 months. If we're making enough money and you're happy, then you won't need another job. I said, okay. But with that being said, we moved in together to save on expenses.
Wow.
So not only are we living together, but we're working together. We're going to the gym together. Everything we do, we make breakfast together. Like we're practically married. And so I would say that first year of opening the business was the hardest year of my life. And it wasn't because of the business. It was because of the partnership. Then to go on top of that, not only was it hard, but we were so young and had so much to learn about life and ourselves as people. We're trying to do that all at the same time. We're trying to run a business and figure out how to work together and figure out how to do all of the things that we're trying to do and do it together in a way that's productive for us as people and for our business, which was hard. It was really hard. I threw a shoe at our apartment wall once.
Why not?
I threw a pin at Amanda's face once.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you do that?
We've walked out on each other a lot. But we both know that both of us have a very deep tie to what we do, and a deep tie to each other. And this past year, I mean, we kind of worked through it. That first year was hard. Once we moved out, it got a little bit easier, but obviously like there were still like rough times where we couldn't agree on things. And so we would work through those, and we would eventually get to the end of it, but not after like hours of fighting. So this past year, we invested in life coaching, and that has been life-changing for both of us, because we were just able to see it in a different light and see like where one person might have pain points and what the other person struggles with, and kind of like build off of each other a little bit better and solve conflict more efficiently. So I would say in terms of like our partnership and our friendship, it's better than it's ever been, but that didn't come with like, I mean, we're on year 4 and we're finally figuring it out. So it took a long time. I know that's like not a long time in the grand scheme of like.
No, it is when you're starting a baby business. That's like an eternity. Yeah.
And we both have pretty strong personalities. But I think through everything we've gone through in the last 4 years, we've learned how to have strong personalities in different areas of the business and let the other person take control where they need to take control. So we're not butting heads constantly. And that has worked very well for us.
So I think that's so awesome. 'Cause I love highlighting this and for the listeners, because I think so many people today love to see successful people, and people start seeing you guys. It's like, oh my gosh, look how good it is. And because they're looking from the outside in, they don't see the struggles and stuff. And as we try to help people take this uncommon path, we're not trying to be like, it's going to be great.
No, right.
Yeah.
Doesn't do us a service to lie about this. It's tough.
So this is fun. So I really appreciate you guys opening up and be vulnerable here, because it is so true. And the growth that gets to come from being a business owner is amazing.
Right.
So yeah, the fact that you guys did this and worked through it, now you're seeing the fruit of it is amazing.
What did you guys go to the same life coach or different ones?
Yeah, so we did. And so she had 12 sessions, I had 12 sessions, and then we did a couple together. So it really, most of the work wasn't even done together. It was mostly just hey, here's the problem I'm having with Amanda, and I am so annoyed and blah, blah. And then she would talk me through it and say here's what you're not seeing, or here's where you're you're assuming what's in her head, or here's where. And so it was just like so great to have an outside person, like put it into perspective, because like we would have conflicts and like, I can't, like when you're in a conflict with somebody, you can't really like step back and like, I don't know, process it. And so it was great to have like a third party there for us.
Right. Okay. So tell me like your primary focus of who are you trying to target for your dance studio?
We take children ages 18 months to 18 years. Anybody who's looking for an extra activity, creativity, socialization, physical activity are all benefits that you're going to get out of our program. Anybody who's looking to dance, we have a class and a program for you.
But like you guys are a little different too, though, in how your approach to dance. Because I know, like when we first met, you guys actually talked about something that you guys do that other dance studios don't.
Is it yodeling?
Elaborate.
Yodeling?
Well, no, I think it was like something about like how you guys make sure like your dancers are well-rounded in like development, so you don't get over like you're doing like the same moves all the time, then injuries happen. That's what you guys are doing to help like prevent injuries and being more well-balanced. And even if like they decide not to be dancers long-term, like they're coming out being, working on their athletic ability, and they've, advanced that for other things as well.
Yeah, so our competition program for sure definitely has a cross-training class to it, and I think that it has been pretty successful for us. We've kept everybody relatively injury-free, which is kind of an uncommon thing in the dance world. Doing the same thing all the time over and over every single day does lead to injuries, but I think we've been on the right track with that so far. As for our younger classes, they're doing locomotive skills, and other things that develop their physical activity in ways that are appropriate for them.
That's cool. Okay, this is what I want to ask you. Okay, so which one was the one who's like, just give me 3 months. Give me 3 months and see if we can do this, which I thought was brilliant, by the way. Good strategy.
Me, Amanda.
Okay, Amanda. And then when was it when Aunica realized like, this plane is off the runway, like it's working? When was that?
I would say probably like once we got to, so our season runs typical or like similarly to school. So our dance classes are pretty set in stone from September and through June. So we came in and opened the business in June. Mm-hmm. So we had June, July, and August of summer classes and kind of introducing ourselves to the community. And then we hit September. And when we originally forecasted how many students we were going to have, I think it was like 75. And this is hilarious because we used to go to like business pitching competitions and we'd pitch our business and like we would show that we're not making money for like forever. and they would laugh at us. And I would be like,
rightfully so.
Right. And I would be like, I don't know why they're laughing at us. Well, thank goodness when we opened our studio, we
just like to predict very conservatively, and we predicted very conservatively.
When we opened our studio, we had what, 220?
220 kids.
220 students. And so once we hit
What'd you forecast? Did you forecast like 48?
75. And so nice. it was crazy compared to what we had forecasted. And once I saw that number, I felt really good. And I mean, it's so funny looking back now because like, even then, like we weren't bringing home that much money, but like to me, coming straight out of college, I thought we were rich. I was like, this is great. I was like, I can buy groceries. I can even like get like a pair of shoes this month. Like this is so cool.
New pens to throw at your face. Those things like that, like the important things. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so then now, like flash forward to where you're at now. How many dancers you got dancing up in that place?
We're at right around 500 right now.
Get it.
Yep.
I love it.
We're pretty space constrained right now, though.
Yeah, but how you guys changing that? Tell us about that.
Whoa.
We are in the process of building a brand new standalone studio right next door to our current location. So we have 3 studio rooms where we're at currently, and we're going to be moving to 5 with a much larger lobby next September, or this September, next season for us.
And will you own that piece of building?
We will.
Nice. Okay, so this is awesome. This is what I love to talk about. I'm getting on my pedestal. Hang on. So a lot of times once we get people up and going and they've jumped off the proverbial bridge and their parachute is open and they're kind of dominating like you are, our first piece of advice is like, maybe let's look at getting into real estate. And everyone is like, okay, rental properties or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. Like, no, real estate for your business that's thriving. Because there's a way powerful strategy that you can use the new building and be getting complete cash flow from that, from even your own business, but it's a tax-free or a tax-different way to get income out of your business. Definitely not tax-free, but taxed more efficiently. And so, brilliant job. You guys don't even need us. Look at you guys go. But I love that you guys were not only investing in yourself right out of college, but you're continuing to invest in yourself in the business moving forward. I mean, what isn't there to like, you know?
I know. Told you.
Right.
You guys are great. Okay, so where are you guys going after that? Are you guys just excited to get into the new building? Like, what's the future?
So, I think the biggest thing is staffing. So we're so far we've like done a lot of it ourselves the first couple years, and like we finally brought on a couple full-time employees. But growing our staffing is probably the biggest thing as we move into this new building. I think we finally figured out like systems and processes and managing finances and like all of
delegation,
all of the things business.
Preach it.
But now we're just ready to grow our team, I think, as we expand. So I think that's kind of what's next for us in terms of like where we're growing as business owners. And then in terms of the studio, just getting some kiddos in the door, taking classes at that new studio and building up the programs that we already have and going from there.
Now, will you guys hold dance competitions at the new studio?
No.
Oh, I didn't know. So I don't know anything about dance.
Can we come to your studio and have a dance off?
Sure.
Anytime.
There's nothing there right now, but it's going to be coming real soon.
There's some dirt and
There's some foundation.
some footings.
They can't help you with yoga if you want. They did that with me, and then I was a lost cause.
Like,
Yeah, we
just
did
go
do a couple
home,
yoga
Aaron.
classes.
I've got
Go
a couple
home.
funny photos of Aaron doing yoga.
Yeah, it took 4 blocks.
That's awesome.
I'm not flexible.
What would you say to somebody on the sideline of life or like hating their job at Wells Fargo? I always pick on Wells Fargo. This is probably the first time you ever heard me say that, but I always pick on Wells Fargo people. Poor guys. What would you say to them? Like, what would be your best advice?
I tell everybody that they should open a business.
Yes. You should work here. Do you want a job?
No, she can't have 2 jobs. You've already been
Oh, dang it.
Only one job. I don't think there's anything else, or maybe there is, but I think it's hard to find somewhere where you feel so fulfilled and you're so passionate about what you do. And we always say this, like nobody is going to love our business as much as we do, which is true. But to have that, I just think is so special. And I think it's hard for me to like watch people go to work or like say, I hate my job. Like it's such a huge part of your life. Like you spend all of your time there and to show up and not enjoy it is just not worth it. It's not worth it.
We kind of parlay it or have the analogy. It's kind of like parenting. Like parenting's hard, but it's also very rewarding and you would never change it for the world. You know, like, and to be able to pour into something and watching it grow into maturity and then go to the next stage. Now you're like in teenager years and then you're in adult years and like, then you're thriving. And then, so totally, I'm edifying everything that you're saying. And I think that's powerful. So if you're sitting there at Wells Fargo and you're listening to your iPod, the podcast, come on, the water's warm.
Yeah. I mean, like on the entrepreneur side, it's one of those things that, you know, you hear all the time, like, don't chase a dollar. And you're like, oh, okay, well, how do you not chase a dollar? Well, I think when you're like a 9 to 5, you know, if we're using the Wells Fargo cubicle as an example, like it's like you end up just chasing the dollar. Like, how fast can I retire?
Right.
Like,
or you get caught up in this trap of like, as soon as I have this much money in my account, then I'll retire.
Yeah.
Or not retire, but then I'll start something new.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's like the jumping off the bridge analogy. Just like, I feel that so much. And there is the best thing you can do is take the leap. And like I said, like, I don't know if I would have if it weren't for Amanda. So
yeah, I think it's just completely different because I don't feel like I ever had to jump off the bridge. I think I've been on the bridge since I can remember. Like
You've been flying for a while.
Option.
You've been falling for quite some time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've never seen anybody jumping off the bridge, believing in themselves, investing in themselves, that ever says, I wish I never have done this. Like, you always are going to learn something. And let's be honest, there's other bridges you can land on after you've jumped. And so, man, great job. Both of you are super inspiring. And I'm very grateful that Aaron told us about you. And I'm grateful that you're part of the Uncommon Wealth brand. You guys fit the bill. And where you're going, if there's anything I can do or Aaron can do, we're going to be right there for you. But I do really want to go dancing at your studio. Maybe the new one.
Anytime.
Anyway, well, thank you for being on the show. What are your closing thoughts for our listeners, or even Aaron? Give him some advice because his beard's looking amazing tonight.
I think Aunica kind of hit the nail on the head with just saying there is no better feeling than waking up for something that you love to do and being in control of where it goes. We have the ultimate say. We can drive this business as big or as small as we want to. We're in control of it, and we can kind of put our dreams to work and go where we want in our lives. And that is a really, really awesome feeling to have every single day.
It's awesome.
So awesome. All right. I don't really know what to say. All I have to say is, you've been listening to the Uncommon Life Project, where I'm your host, Philip Ramsey.
Aaron Kramer.
Thanks for listening, and tune in next time. Until then, go impact yourself and others. Go be uncommon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
That's all for this episode of the Uncommon Life Project, brought to you by Uncommon Wealth Partners. Be sure to visit uncommonwealth.com to learn more about our services. Don't miss an episode as we introduce you to inspiring people who are actively pursuing an uncommon life.